favorite quotes from the great late Palestinian literary critic Edward Said from Culture and Imperialism, and she quotes, "To think about distant places, to colonize them, to populate or depopulate them, all of this occurs on, about, or because of land. The actual geographical possession of land is what empire in the final analysis is about. At the moment when the coincidence occurs between real control and power, the idea of what a given place was, could be, might become, and an actual place, at that moment, the struggle for empire is launched." And then she goes on to say that with Said's work, we kind of can put the nail in the coffin of any interpretation of, say, cultural production within Europe, particularly in the form of, in Said's case, literature, can be effectively read or interpreted as neutral in relationship to questions of imperialism, empire, and colonialism. And then she makes the analogy that this is what she wants to do with the discourse and the legalities of kind of the emergence of property, particularly private property and the ownership model in relationship to settler colonialism and its constitutive sort of backdrop. So she then goes on in the introduction to outline how she does this in the empirical context, with which Nick really spells out nicely, and then kind of highlights some of the exclusions that she won't be talking about. One is she will mentions that she doesn't spend much time kind of providing a historical animation of the forms of resistance that Indigenous peoples or colonized peoples mounted to the imposition of these racial regimes of ownership and settler colonial accumulation. That she's not going to spend much time thinking about what types of alternatives might emerge in her wake, although she does hint towards those towards the ends in thinking about what it would mean to deproprietarize our forms of life in settler colonial contexts in ways that open up freedom in inclusive directions. And I think that it is important for her argument that, and for our conversation here, that we include that. And one links back to one of the limitations that is often seen with Said's own work, this time not with Culture and Imperialism, but with its predecessor, Orientalism. So one of the things that we all know that Orientalism did so masterfully was that it produced across a range of kind of European disciplinary sort of representations a hegemonic construction of the East or the Orient in ways that